Show. Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Get a large 3-topping original stuffed crust Pizza Hut pizza for just $11.99. Order now at pizzahut.com. We recap Lakers Sixers and all that went down tonight.
Lakers basketball is a final.
877-710 ESPN.
It's the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show.
Tipping off now.
Here's Allen Sliwa.
Lakers lose to the Sixers, 109-101 the final score, 28-17 on the season. Lakers certainly struggling without their stars. They've lost 4 games in a row. Now sitting in 4th place in the Western Conference, Denver and Portland right on their heels, just a game and a half behind the Lakers. So obviously shows the position that the Lakers are in right now. We got a lot to get into in this postgame show. We'll obviously spend a lot of time on this game, and we'll also talk about what the day was, no trades for the Lakers, how important the buyout market's going to be for the Lake Show as well. So all of that, 877-710-ESPN if you want to be a part of the show. You could also hit me on Twitter at Allen Sliwa. Who would have thought coming into this game that, and I put out a video right as Dwight Howard and Danny Green were getting their rings. It was kind of good vibes. You know, you felt good for them. 2 guys that certainly had such impactful roles on this Lakers team. And I know there were times, Laker fans especially, there were times where there was a lot of frustration when Danny Green doesn't hit his shot consistent enough. And he ends up, you know, obviously part of a trade. He eventually gets to Philadelphia. Dwight Howard gets to Philadelphia. Coming into tonight's game, if you'd have told me Ben Simmons had 28 points, I get it. If you'd have told me Tobias Harris was going to put up 28 points tonight, completely understand. But if you'd have told me Danny Green would have hit 8 threes, 9 of 14 from the field, he only had 1 field goal outside the three-point line or inside the three-point line, and ends up with 28 points. And here we are sitting in the postgame show talking about Danny Green being the difference of the Lakers winning this game and not snapping that losing streak that they've been in. Definitely did not think that was going to be the case. He was obviously incredibly impactful for the Sixers, and unfortunately for the Lakers, it hands them another loss. Let me start off with Robert out in Venice. Robert, appreciate you calling in. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I appreciate your time. You know, I think Rob Pelinka is not getting enough heat because if you look at the 3 players we're missing from last year's run, Danny Green, Rondo, and Dwight, can you not say there's 3 Lakers players that you would give up for those 3? Now, Wes Matthews, disappointment. Marc Gasol, obviously not the same inside presence that Dwight was. But think about this, Green, Rondo, and Dwight. If that was our 3 at the trade deadline, we'd all be clapping and screaming. Am I wrong here, Alex? I mean, tell me.
Appreciate you calling in. Thank you for calling in. First of all, let me say this. It's easy right now to kick the Lakers when they're down, and it's easy to do it when LeBron James and Anthony Davis are out. So, yeah, you can say that at the moment because LeBron James and Anthony Davis aren't playing. But when the Lakers won 4 games in a row after the All-Star break, I don't know if I'm getting the same call. I'm probably not getting the same call. The Dwight Howard one, I understand. I think there's a lot of Laker fans that would say, rim protector, we needed a rim protector. Why didn't we get a rim protector? Why not bring Dwight back? That one, I think that's a completely fair one. But I heard a lot of Laker fans complaining about Danny Green last season. And remember how you got Danny Green. You got Danny Green you got Dennis Schroeder because of Danny Green. I'd rather have Dennis Schroeder over Danny Green. The Wesley Matthews signing has not worked out. There's no reason to try and sugarcoat that. To this point, he has not been as consistent as we hoped he would be. I thought we were getting Wesley Matthews, which was a comp to Danny Green, but you were getting him at a fifth of the price. So that's the way that I look at that. This buyout market's going to be big for the Lakers. You know what else is going to be big? Getting LeBron James and Anthony Davis back. But because that's further on down the road, and I think it's going to be a little bit of time until that obviously happens. I'm going to just focus on the buyout market for a quick second. Lakers did not make a trade, obviously, by the noon deadline, and it sounded like for a second there that they might be in a position to do something. There were a few different moments this morning that I think Kyle Lowry is going to be a Laker. And for that brief second, you saw Victor Oladipo go to the Miami Heat. You thought, okay, maybe now it's just Lakers and the Raptors are negotiating. That deal doesn't go down. The buyout market is where I thought that's why I thought Rob Pelinka excelled last season to fill in holes that we had. We got to find out what happens coming up to this buyout market, and if Pelinka, obviously pulls similar strings. And I'm going to give Pelinka, obviously, let's let the buyout market work itself out. But nobody's in an easy position here when you lose LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Let me take a quick phone call here again. Let's go to Joe in the Inland Empire. Joe, appreciate you calling in. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, what's up, Allen?
Hey, man.
Today was stressful. Today was very stressful for Laker fans. The whole day we were hoping that, we could swing some kind of trade today. I was just looking around the edges like a Wayne Ellington or a Terrence Ross or Hassan Whiteside. Like, we got to, really step up our roster, because if we keep slipping, we're really about to slip out of contention of really being.
We miss you there. We miss you there. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you calling in. I got what you were saying. Basically, got to make some kind of move to stay where we're at, or just play even playing field. Michael was saying today he thought if the Lakers went 4-6 over their next 10 games, then it was 5-5 would be great. I'm with him on that. I mean, anything above 500 or at 500 at this point, obviously that would be a positive. Let me squeeze in one more quick call here. Scooter in LA. What's going on, Scooter?
How you doing?
Doing okay, man. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, these last 4 games have been kind of brutal to watch, man. And it's funny, like, what difference a week or two made, because I can remember looking at what Utah, Phoenix, and the Clippers were doing, hoping that the Lakers would stay pace with them. Mm-hmm. Now I'm looking at what Denver and Portland and Dallas and the rest of the lower West Division is doing, and hoping the Lakers could at least, keep their head above water until LeBron and Anthony gets back.
Well, Scooter, I don't know if I have the answer to that, if they will be able to keep their head above water. I really don't. I appreciate you calling in. Listen, I was said this last couple of days. You know how exciting it was walking into Saturday's game against Atlanta? Lakers had won 4 in a row. Utah was playing 500 ball. Lakers now second place in the Western Conference. Like that, things can change, right? Just so quick, things can change. The one thing that I'd pay most attention to right now is let's see how the rest of the roster rounds up. Lakers have 2 roster spots. Those roster spots are going to be key. And I'm very curious to see how, obviously Rob Pelinka, the Lakers front office, rounded up, not just for the long playoff run, but for this next 30 days until you think you got that opportunity to be healthy. All right, when we come back, we'll take a listen to Lakers head coach Frank Vogel. We'll get his thoughts on the Lakers' loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. Good battle. Third quarter killed the Lakers, obviously, outscored by 18. It was tied at halftime. And then Lakers were down 18 by the time the fourth quarter started. Lakers would go down by 19, come all the way back, cut it down to 3. And Danny freaking Green, 28 points and 8 3-pointers for the Philadelphia 76ers. Lakers head coach Frank Vogel when we come back. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll take more of your phone calls as well, 877-710-ESPN. This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
It is the madness in the month of March. And to celebrate, guess what we're going to do at 710 ESPN? We're giving away more money. March Money Madness. Your chance to win again tomorrow at 4:15 on Sedano, LZ, and Cap in the afternoon. Your chance to win cash and a getaway to Harrah's Resort SoCal tomorrow, 4:15 p.m.
A lot of money out there. A lot of money for this game. A lot of money.
Your chance to win more money right here on 710 ESPN.
The NBA trade deadline has passed. The champs didn't make a move.
But did a move need to be made?
Does this mean AD is coming back soon? Stay positive and stay with 710. Keep checking back with the voice of LA as we talk about what's next for the purple and gold. 710
ESPN.
We didn't invent the first crust, but we did invent the crust you eat. Crust first, the one and only original stuffed crust, only from Pizza Hut. Just $11.99. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hey, Laker fans, it's Travis. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 5 a.m., we're going to break down everything from the Lakers game. We're going to tell you who played well, what went right, all of it starting at 5 o'clock right here on 710 ESPN. Get up.
This is a Lakers town.
It's an incredible fan base, and there's nothing like it.
And nobody covers the Lakers better than Allen Sliwa on Lakers Talk.
And the Lakers are as positioned right now to go back-to-back with LeBron James and Anthony Davis as good as any other team in the league.
All the latest news surrounding the purple and gold. Hear Lakers Talk Monday at 7 p.m. on the ESPN app or anytime wherever you get your podcast.
2108. 1-800-494-2108. 1-800-494-2108.
This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show.
Highlights from tonight's Lakers game
And your reaction on the Lakers line. Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Get a large 3-topping original stuffed crust Pizza Hut pizza for just $11.99. Order now at pizzahut.com.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's time for Lakers postgame with Sliwa.
Now, here's Allen Sliwa.
Throws it into Dwight. Right into the basket. Stolen by Wes Matthews. Gets it ahead to Caruso. Caruso to THT. Talen Horton-Tucker. Bounce pass. Matthews. Three-pointer by Wes is good. And the Lakers retake the lead. 24-23.
The defensive play of the game is brought to you by Adriana's Insurance. Win and save on your auto insurance, and only Adriana's Insurance can guarantee it. We give you more options, unique offers, and exclusive opportunities to get the coverage you need at the best price. Visit savewithadrianas.com today. Adriana's Insurance, more options, no contracts, just savings. Lakers lose 109-101. Tough loss for the Lakers. Nice comeback. Had some hope there at the end. I actually thought Lakers had a good chance to pull it out. The game did not come down to this, but the ref that called a foul on Dennis Schroeder on that defensive play, and then was, first of all, that was an awful call, and then so quick to blow the whistle and hit Dennis Schroeder with a technical foul. There's nothing worse than when you remember the referees after games rather than just remembering the players and situations that were happening in the game. Like I said, that's not the difference of the game. Lakers had opportunities, but critical situation like that, you hate to see a play like that. 109-101 the final score. I do want to take more of your guys' phone calls, 877-710-ESPN. I'm going to do that in just a little bit here, but let's hear from Lakers head coach Frank Vogel. Let's get his thoughts on the Lakers' 8-point loss to the Sixers. That's 4 losses in a row for the Lakers.
Hey, Frank, before we get to the fourth quarter, just wondered what was going through your mind after Shake Milton hits that three to close the third quarter, what the deficit was and all the turnovers and et cetera that had led to Philly building that lead.
Yeah, well, each of the last 3 or 4 games, we've had one really bad quarter, and we're hoping to prevent that and play a 48-minute night. The third quarter, we just credit the defense. They're great at forcing turnovers. We made some few poor decisions, but they made some good defensive plays there in that stretch as well, and got going in transition. And then obviously the double team is trying to take the ball out of Tobias's hands mostly. We got crossed up on a few of those and gave up threes as well. So just a tough stretch for us during that quarter, and got to continue to try to put together 48 minutes.
And then as to that fourth quarter, Frank, obviously there was some desperation needed, but is that something that you feel like should be happening more, just given the fact LeBron and AD are out? Do you think that's something that can be called upon more into playing with that type of intensity?
Yeah, I don't think we played harder in the fourth quarter than the third. I think we played poorly in the third. I think our team's fighting. They're scratching and clawing, giving great effort. But like I said, we're just having a stretch where we make some poor decisions and miss some assignments on the defensive end. So we just got to put it together for 48 minutes.
Okay, Bill Orm, please.
Hey, Frank. I was just wondering if you could tell us what you saw from Mark in his first game back and just how good it was to have him back on the floor after this prolonged absence.
Yeah, he was great. I'm not even sure what his numbers, 1 for 2, but his impact comes in a lot of different ways. The IQ defensively, had a couple of great verticality plays at the rim to get us some stops. And, it just gives us a different dynamic offensively to be able to play passing side offense more. with him quarterback and some of that stuff. So a good return for him.
Will he play tomorrow night, or will it still be on a minutes restriction? What's the plan?
We'll see how he feels tomorrow.
Sorry about that, Frank. Kyle Goon, please.
Hey, Frank. I know you talked before about everybody kind of having to step up a little bit here and there to replace guys like LeBron and D. But in terms of, vocal leadership or kind of pulling guys through maybe some of the rough quarters you've had, is there somebody that you feel like is more capable of sort of pulling the team, sort of filling the leadership void that you guys are missing without LeBron?
Yeah, we got to lead from every chair in the room. Everybody's got to play their part, and everybody, quite frankly, is. Guys are talking out coverages, they're talking about actions and offensive spacing and where they need to be. They're working together the right way. It's healthy. We're competing, just falling short because of a couple different difficult stretches.
Okay, Dan Wojcicki.
Frank, it is probably kind of obvious, but is that sort of the lesson to the guys after these games? Is that the margin for error is just so much more slim without AD and LeBron?
Yeah, that's yes, margin of error
is pretty obvious, I guess.
It's more slim.
Okay, we're going to go to Michael Duarte.
Yeah, Frank, I'm sure you're used to it, seeing what Danny Green was able to do, for you a couple games when he gets hot. But when he gets hot like he did tonight, what can you do to just stop him? I know some missed rotations left him with some open shots, but other than that, he was just on all night.
Yeah, there was a couple where it draped all over him. But when you're trying to slow down guys like Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, we overcommitted and overhelped off on Ben's drives to the basket entirely too much. I think Danny got some of those. Some of those we're trying to take the ball out of Tobias Harris' hands, and that's what Danny's won championships doing, is making double teams pay, and we just didn't get to him enough.
Okay, last two questions. We're going to Claudia Jestro, please.
Hey, Frank, I know tonight was not a good night, but it looks like Kuzma is taking on a leadership role. How important will that be as you go forward?
Yeah, he's got a healthy spirit. He really does. He's got a great mindset to come in and give maximum effort. Plays extremely hard on both sides of the ball. And, the mental piece of it, I do think has picked up in the absence of LeBron and AD, trying like the rest of our guys, to talk things out on the floor and figure out the game. So he's doing a great job.
Thank you.
And last question, Davide, please.
Hey, Coach. What do you think is the most positive thing you see from your team tonight?
I think how we fought. I think we got down in New Orleans 2 nights ago and let go of the rope a little bit in a 15-point lead, got up to 25, 28, whatever it was. I thought when we got down that margin tonight, we had the mindset to scratch and claw and not give up on the game and do whatever it takes to get back in it. We gave ourselves a chance in the final minute. I think we got to cut it to 3 at one point, and I was proud of how our guys competed through that stretch.
All right, that's Lakers head coach Frank Vogel right there. I think one thing sticks out to me. He said that they're not having bad games; they're having a bad quarter. They had an awful third quarter tonight. Had a bad second quarter against the Pelicans. Not that the third quarter was that much better. They had a bad quarter against the Atlanta Hawks. That was the third quarter, so that was the first quarter without LBJ. Same thing with the Suns. I think it was the second quarter. It's so tough for this team to sustain something when you're so used to LeBron James carrying the load. I'm not even going to mention Anthony Davis anymore because AD has been out long enough to where, I think we'd all agree when we were talking MVP, most valuable player, the conversation was always LeBron James. And LBJ was able to hide a lot of things. So LBJ would go out for 3-4 minutes, try to get, a quick blow, some rest. And by the time he came back, it was Lakers would blow a 7-point lead or something along those lines. Now there's no margin for error. There is no, LeBron's gone. So anytime that you're not playing good basketball, all of a sudden a team that it might be a close game, and next thing you know, you're down double digits. That happened to the Sixers tonight. Okay, we'll do a couple things when we come back. 109-101, the final score with the Sixers. We'll take a couple phone calls. We'll get a chance to hear from Montrezl Harrell as well. This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
It is the madness in the month of March. And to celebrate, guess what we're going to do at 710 ESPN? We're giving away more money. March Money Madness. Your chance to win again tomorrow at 4:15 on Sedano, LZ, and Cap in the afternoon. Your chance to win cash and a getaway to Harrah's Resort SoCal tomorrow, 4:15 p.m.
A lot of money out there. A lot of money for this game. A lot of money.
Your chance to win more money right here on 710 ESPN.
The NBA trade deadline has passed. The champs didn't make a move, but did a move need to be made? Does this mean AD is coming back soon? Stay positive and stay with 710. Keep checking back with the voice of LA as we talk about what's next for the purple and gold. 710 ESPN.
We didn't invent the first crust, but we did invent the crust you eat. Crust first, the one and only original stuffed crust, only from Pizza Hut. Just $11.99. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hey, Laker fans, it's Travis. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 5 a.m., we're going to break down everything from the Lakers game. We're going to tell you who played well, what went right, all of it starting at 5 o'clock right here on 710 ESPN. Get up!
This is a Lakers town.
It's an incredible fan base, and there's nothing like it.
And nobody covers the Lakers better than Allen Sliwa on Lakers Talk.
And the Lakers are as positioned right now to go back-to-back with LeBron James and Anthony Davis as good as any other team in the league.
All the latest news surrounding the purple and gold. Hear Lakers Talk Monday at 7 p.m. on the ESPN app or anytime wherever you get your podcast. In Ireland, back tomorrow at 12:55 p.m.
on 710 ESPN.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
You're listening to the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show.
Highlights from tonight's Lakers game and your reaction on the Lakers line. The world champion Los Angeles Lakers on 710 ESPN. Your home for championship radio.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Get a large 3-topping original stuffed crust Pizza Hut pizza for just $11.99. Order now at pizzahut.com.
Once again, here's Allen Sliwa.
Lakers lose 109-101 to the Sixers. Points in the Paint all season long is sponsored by Vista Paint. Right now, local residents can take 40% off on factory direct high-quality Vista Paint products. A Vista Paint team member will show you how. Locally owned, manufactured, and operated since 1956. Vista Paint. I'm going to squeeze in a couple quick calls, but let me read off this tweet real quick from Chris Haynes. So Chris Haynes sent out a tweet from Yahoo Sports. Says, Yahoo sources, LaMarcus Aldridge will have conversations with the Miami Heat, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Clippers, and Brooklyn Nets before deciding on his next destination. Haynes, a couple minutes later, Yahoo sources, Andre Drummond will listen to pitches from the New York Knicks, Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers, Boston Celtics, and Charlotte Hornets. I think the buyout market is obviously something that every Laker fan, your attention just completely shifts to. By the way, even if Lakers made a trade earlier today, you would still be paying attention to the buyout market, specifically because one name that's been thrown around for the last 30 days has been Andre Drummond. This will be interesting. It really will. If Lakers can land Andre Drummond and then can figure out some type of other player, a 3-and-D guy, something along those lines, or some type of a shooter that's available as well, we all might be sitting here, hopefully sooner than later, talking about how, okay, we didn't make a trade, we didn't give up a ton of assets, but then we ended up with influential players that can help determine whether Lakers win a championship or not and keep the Lakers above water. Or we could be sitting here saying that the Lakers made no changes. Now you just got to wait for LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So we'll see what happens on that front. But that's a couple tweets there from Chris Haynes, some updates on Andre Drummond and LaMarcus Aldridge. Yared in Burbank, thank you for calling in. You're on the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show. Go ahead.
How's it going, man? Big fan. I just want to quickly say, just to Laker fans, that I think we need to just calm down a little bit. I think the one player that we all agree on is Drummond. I feel like that could come in the future. But just like last year, everyone was talking about KCP and his struggles, but he turned out being one of the most important players in the playoffs and the finals. And I just feel like with Schroeder, with Trez, playing with LeBron is just turns players, into producing their best play. And I feel like with this group, we just need to stick with it, stick together within this time while everyone's out. And I feel like once the playoffs hit, we'll be ready.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling in, man. Thank you for calling in. Let me get one more call in here. How about Quincy in LA? What's going on, Quincy?
What's good? What's good?
Thank you, man. Appreciate you calling in.
Listen, Allen, I'm positive. I like this because at the end of the day, who's going to guard LeBron and AD in the games? I feel bad for Utah if because for 18 Jazz to the Lakers. That's tough for Utah. And
Could you imagine? That's your gift being the number one seed.
They did all that work to get blown out.
Quincy, I'll say this, and I appreciate you calling in. What it comes down to now is very simple. Just staying at par before LeBron and AD come back. We're supposed to get an update on Anthony Davis, I think, tomorrow. That'll be 2 weeks. Timeline, they said that will be reevaluated. Doesn't mean AD's coming back soon. Now it honestly just comes down to how many games are you going to lose between now and the time that those 2 players come back? And that's not a knock on anybody. No franchise is built to withstand 2 of the best players in the NBA being out at the same time for 30 days or 6 weeks or whatever the case is. So I think with all that being said, yes, in the playoffs, the problem is the playoffs so far away, it seems so distant away because LeBron and AD are not healthy. So the Lakers, 8-point loss. Montrez, by the way, he had a nice game and continues to play well. 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 of 13 from the field. Single-handedly got thrown out of the game. Here's Montrezl.
Was there something that you saw in that fourth quarter comeback where you guys were playing more against the wall that you could have come out earlier in this game?
It was all those things you just said. Played desperation type of ball. We played with pace. We flew around defense and for rotations. Shot the ball out of habit. On the defensive end of the floor, and then on the offensive end of the floor, we just swing the ball all around, man, and try to keep the ball keep happening. Make extra rotations, man, and make shots. The third quarter definitely hurt us a lot. Get 4 or 5 threes, which caused them to get on it. Running and take the lead the way it did, and we can have those lapses. That's what it was. I think we're trying to make the right play instead of just letting things develop. Trying to fit it in small spaces, small windows, and never going over a lot of scripts. And once they got out on the run, they hit threes, guys still the running. So that kind of put us in a hole. But at the end of the day,
Lakers dropped their 4th straight game since. And kind of pieces that the team want to move, man. You don't really have too much of a say
until basically it kind of comes out. So, I don't really kind of wrap myself up around those type of things. I don't kind of get into it, man. I got a great, agency with Clutch and Rich Paul. So, I'll leave that in their hands. And I'm just trying to take care of what I can take care of out here on the court.
Okay, Dave McMenamin, please.
Hey, Trez, what was going on between you and Dwight out there in the first quarter? Was that just competitive fire between you two? Was there any bad blood? And what did you think of him getting run from the game?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't even really care. To be real with you. I was playing basketball, man. And, Doc is old coach of mine, so is Sam, man. And, when I'm talking to the coaches, and if they feel like, some of the things you're doing on basketball plays, man, then it is what it is, man. But, I'm not backing out for nobody, man. I don't take that lightly. I don't take, none of that disrespect. You're not going to, push me all around.
All right, that's Montrezl Harrell right there. Getting fired up just listening to Montrez. He had Dwight had 2 technical fouls. I don't know what Dwight was doing, to be honest with you. Just watching as smart of a player Dwight Howard is, as important as he is, especially with Joel Embiid out, he basically got himself completely tossed out of the game for no reason at all. Him and Trez were going back and forth, but still not enough for the Lakers. They still lose to the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, let's do this when we come back. I know we still got a few people that want to chat about this Lakers loss. I'll take some phone calls when we come back. A couple of interesting quotes I want to read. There was a couple good quotes from Dennis Schroeder, another good quote from KCP, and then we'll also get a chance to hear from Marc Gasol. Gasol's been gone. Gasol talks about his, obviously going through COVID-19 and what that journey has been like. Plus, we will get a chance to just react a little bit to all the deals that went down in the NBA earlier today. Lakers lose to the Sixers 109-101. Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
It is the madness in the month of March. And to celebrate, guess what we're going to do at 710 ESPN? We're giving away more money. March Money Madness. Your chance to win again tomorrow at 4:15 on Sedano, LZ, and Cap in the afternoon. Your chance to win cash and a getaway to Harrah's Resort SoCal tomorrow, 4:15 p.m.
A lot of money out there. A lot of money for this game. A lot of money.
Your chance to win more money right here on 710 ESPN.
The NBA trade deadline has passed. The champs didn't make a move, but did a move need to be made? Does this mean AD is coming back soon? Stay positive and stay with 710. Keep checking back with the voice of LA as we talk about what's next for the purple and gold. 710 ESPN.
We didn't invent the first crust, but we did invent the crust you eat. Crust first, the one and only original stuffed crust, only from Pizza Hut. Just $11.99. No one outpizzas the Hut.
Hey, Laker fans, it's Travis. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 5 a.m., we're going to break down everything from the Lakers game. We're going to tell you who played well, what went right, all of it starting at 5 o'clock right here on 710 ESPN. Get up.
This is a Lakers town.
It's an incredible fan base, and there's nothing like it.
And nobody covers the Lakers better than Allen Sliwa on Lakers Talk.
And the Lakers are as positioned right now to go back-to-back with LeBron James and Anthony Davis as good as any other team in the league.
All the latest news surrounding the purple and gold. Hear Lakers Talk Monday at 7 p.m. on the ESPN app or anytime wherever you get your podcast.
Sixers 109-101 the final score, 28-17 on the season. I want to read off a quick tweet here. Dave McMenamin put out a tweet on Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder was asked about being included in trade talks says that he still wants to be a Laker, but wants to see his options in the offseason. It sounds like he'll not be pursuing a contract extension with LA before the summer. Schroeder ended up saying it's a crazy business. KCP, by the way, obviously he was in trade talks as well, and a lot of that had to do with the conversation around Kyle Lowry. Look, I don't know what's going to happen, obviously, in the offseason. Montrezl Harrell will have an option on his contract. Dennis Schroeder will be an unrestricted free agent. So this will be an interesting offseason for the Lakers, but it's so difficult to pay any attention to the offseason when you're in the middle of a legitimate opportunity to go back-to-back. And, some might make the argument that the Lakers should have made a deal before the NBA trade deadline. I do remember last season, I will say this, last season, Lakers, there was an opportunity. It sounded like they were talking to the Knicks for Marcus Morris. They ended up not doing a deal, which I think it was going to take Kuzma to get a deal done. They didn't do a deal. And, obviously Pelinka and them took advantage of the buyout market. Lakers end up winning a championship. Competition's much different this year. Let's not sugarcoat it. Competition is a lot better this year. And some of the deals that went down, teams in the West got better. I thought the Denver Nuggets getting Aaron Gordon, they also picked up JaVale McGee. They got better. Dallas got J.J. Redick. They got better. Norman Powell goes to the Blazers. Rajon Rondo to the Clippers. Did not see that one coming by any stretch of the imagination. You might say, they lost Lou Williams, and that's going to hurt them. No, they need Rondo more than they need, in my opinion, they need Rondo more than they need a guy like Lou Williams. So this was a crazy day. I know everybody ended up just sitting on Twitter, hitting the refresh button 94 times every couple of minutes. I think that was everybody's routine today. But now it's just a matter of waiting to see where some of these other pieces fall. Marc Gasol, I do want to play his interview simply because we haven't heard from Marc Gasol in quite a while. He ended up playing for the Lakers 15 minutes, which we knew he was going to be on a minutes restriction. 5 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds for Marc Gasol. Here's Gasol on the Lakers' loss and also his comeback.
How difficult it was even to find some time to get any kind of practice run for you, just given the circumstances. And so wondered how you felt physically in the 15 minutes out there tonight compared to what your expectations were.
Better than expected. Didn't get, like you guys know, not as much practice, no team practice, definitely. So everything had to be done, with coaches and guys. With the traveling, it's always hard to find, good time. So, but better than expected. I felt still unathletic, so the infection didn't affect me much. I'm still not a very athletic guy, which is still the same. So that's good.
Fair enough. Do you have an idea yet about tomorrow, if you'll be able to play?
That's the plan. That's the plan. Unless something happens and I wake up with something that I'm not falling down.
Go ahead.
Unless something happens overnight, which I don't expect to. The plan is to play tomorrow around the same time. Hopefully a little bit more. That's more on the medical team. We're trying to be smart about this, but I'm happy, very happy to be able to be out there and help the guys.
And Mark, tonight's game included, but what have you noticed about how this team needs to play without LeBron and AD, and what role that you can take up in that?
We have to be more consistent, especially defensively. We had too many breakdowns on the open court. We know once we set our defense, while we communicate and everyone is tied together, our chances of getting stops are much, much higher, and that fuels our offense. That gets us going. We had too many breakdowns on transition, too many plays that we there but we not there. You have to close out all the way. You have to do the extra step. Offensively, keep sharing the ball, keep making the next play. Don't get stagnant. Don't be predictable. Play as a team. So I think obviously we're not getting the result that we want in 48 minutes, but we're getting better as a team. And I think guys understanding, how important it is to play with one another.
Hey, Kyle Boone, please.
Hey, Mark. First of all, glad to see you back and healthy. but I'm going to pick up on a word that you used, infection, and ask, were you suffering from the effects of COVID-19 during your absence, and what were some of the obstacles in getting back?
Yeah. And it got me pretty good for 5-6 days. I was down. I couldn't move much. The biggest symptoms, or the worst symptoms for me, were the headaches, difficulty of breathing, especially when you try to move, you try to go upstairs, and it really, that's when I realized how hard it was, and how it was impacting my body, and the body aches, the fever, all that. It's manageable, but the headaches and difficulty to breathe were definitely, to me, the worst symptoms. The loss of taste and smell, that happened too. I'm slowly getting it back. It's serious, and it's not only about you and how you can deal with it. It's who you pass it on to. Sadly, it went around the house too. So it's nothing to play around with. It's something very serious.
Okay, Bill Oram, please.
Mark, I'm curious, in this year where so much has been put in place to allow the season to be played and to keep players safe, has your perspective on the whole enterprise changed at all, just as having had a positive test? Was it, how has your perspective on this NBA season changed, if at all?
It hasn't. It's something, it's a risk that that we all going through. I wear the mask every day. I keep my distance with everyone. Even doing all the right things, you still can get it, and that's what.
Hoping for the same sentiment, and maybe we're a little bit closer to getting fans back at games. I'm sure for the Lakers, it would mean everything. I'm sure for the NBA as well. I'll say this as we come to a close here of the postgame show. You lose by 8 to the Sixers. You got 2 games that are legitimate opportunities to win games, these next 2. You got the Cavs coming up tomorrow. They're 17-27. The Orlando Magic coming up on Sunday. They're 15-29. Orlando traded pretty much any player that was of any value earlier today. So with all that being said, it's been a tough stretch for the Lakers. These 4 games obviously have been incredibly tough. But you do have a chance to get these next 2. And if they could take care of business tomorrow, we mentioned it's a quick turnaround. Just at least give yourself an opportunity to kind of stay in that mix of that. As far as the standings go, you're sitting right now in 4th place. If you can hold on to that spot for at least a week, 2 weeks, something along those lines, by the time we get more information on LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Okay, next broadcast tomorrow night. By the way, just a quick reminder here. The pregame show will be at 6, so tomorrow's a later tip-off. It's a 7:30 tip-off. So pregame at 6, tip-off at 7:30. Lakers taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. As always, we greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm Allen Sliwa, and this is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.